We've all been through craziness. And I mean, as much as I learned from 2020, I'm ready for 2020 to straight go to hell and bring on 2021. If we continuously use the prism of red or blue to justify our actions, our inactions, our natural bias, or our own opinions, instead of using the premise of right or wrong, we are all screwed. Welcome to the Now or Never podcast, all things entrepreneurship, people who just take life and kick it square in the ass. I'm your host, Tim Rexius, with my special host, Brittney Rexius.
Did you have to think about that for a minute?
I was trying to make it dramatic.
Oh, okay. But hey.
Hey. This is kind of a special episode that we've been trying to record for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And it's kind of nuts. This is our 11-year anniversary of being in business in Rexius Nutrition store. Started the first store August 1st of 2010. Pretty much after I got my ass kicked in the housing recession and left a job that I wasn't being terribly healthy in to follow my dream after 7 years of working and grinding, just to finally realize that money doesn't solve shit, that make your passion your paycheck really isn't just an expression, a cute little thing for bumper stickers. It's a way of life. And, here we are 11 years later. And it's been 4 weeks since the anniversary, but we haven't even had a chance to freaking announce it because honestly, we've been grinding in a way that neither one of us have ever even experienced. Like, I'm working more hours right now than when I first started and then some. And it's so much so that we haven't time to fucking record a podcast. Actually, I've kind of forgot like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it's my 11-year anniversary. And I wasn't planning on making a big hoopla about it because I didn't get to celebrate a 10-year really with COVID, Thanks,
COVID.
Yeah, and you're going to get our video flagged. Anyways, and the funny thing is we've been working so many hours, making so many changes to all the companies that we just haven't had a chance, which just goes to show that after 11 years, the grind doesn't stop. I mean, I don't believe in complacency in business. You're either growing or you're shrinking. There is no I'm good here type mentality, which is probably why we're successful, and I remember my first couple months, like I sold $3,500 in business my first month, August of 2010. Almost $2,000 of that was bought by me on credit cards that I couldn't pay off, by the way, to bribe people to come in the frickin' shop. And, second month, same thing, third month, fourth month. I mean, the first $900 day in business that Shane and I had, he was just an employee at the time, was in October. And we gave the guy like the biggest discount. We probably made $90 on the sale. Shane and I are ready to do cartwheels in the parking lot in our birthday suits, just so jacked up, And then, we hit that December. I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And we're still working jobs on the side. Shane's still doing concrete. I'm delivering pizza. I was just going up to South Dakota 3 times a week to sell chemicals every other week and just do whatever I could to make ends meet, doing floor jobs on the side on the hours I wasn't working, training 2 or 3 times a day in between hours I was working so people could meet me because nobody would let me into a sampling, for Christ's sake. They're like, what is this crazy shit? And, I was about 2-3 months in. It was probably around that in December. And JD Whitmarsh, who's now our VP of operations, what up, dude? Was working. We were friends, and he was working at Complete Nutrition at the time. And I remember he comes in, he goes, I just being a friend. He's like, hey, I like what you do. A bunch of my friends were working at GNC or Complete, all shopping with me because I carried some more edgier stuff at the time. And being like, hey, letting the corporate meeting at Complete, they were making bets for how long you'd last. And the longest bet was 6 months. I'm like, what'd you bet? And he goes, well, I didn't get to bet. I'm like, so that's bullshit. I hope you lost money on that bet. But here I am 11 years later, Complete Nutrition is completely bankrupt. And we're growing to be one of the largest independent chains in the United States. Just, opened in Hot Springs, Arkansas a couple months, and then Council Bluffs. We're opening in Kansas City. Gretna's opening shortly. We've got stores looking at Oklahoma City, Phoenix, San Diego, Yankton, just kind of all over the place. And it's amazing that after 11 years, and I see the reason for me it's funny is because her and I see all the time on Instagram, after a couple of years, once I have $1 million company, I'm going to totally just travel. I'm like, I am 20 years into business, 11 years into this company, and the fuck are you talking about? I mean, you're talking about the outliers. You're talking about the exceptions to the rule. You got to be prepared to be the rule. That you're going to have to grind your ass off. And we don't know anybody who's wealthy, who hasn't had to work their freaking face off And like I said, you don't have complacency in business. You're either growing or you're shrinking. And the amount of 80 and 90 hour weeks that Brittney and I here are putting in right now, this far into our professional careers, is a testament to whether or not you're actually going to be successful. Yeah. The only people I know that make good money and don't really do anything are trust fund babies who inherited it, who can play the stock market and do that shit. Good for you. But I know that when I pass things down to my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids, it's something that we earned because we both came from nothing. Nothing was handed to us. We literally, we were how many years in the process, and we're like, hey, let's go for broke again and start some gyms with Nick and Danny. And people don't realize this, that I wanted to do it. And Rexius Nutrition was helping facilitate a lot of those things to happen with just because I already earned so much and had the assets. But she was the one harping on my ass, her and Nick. And I basically said, put your money where your mouth is. So Brittney actually cashed out her 401ks to put the down payment on Iron Heaven Gym for our portion. Yes, and then for the second gym, she cashed out the other one. Yep. I said, so I've heard statements made like, listen, one of the questions we get most often is how do we make it work as a marriage, working, being entrepreneurs and all that stuff. And it's because she's just as much, and you're welcome, babe, just as much of a badass as I am. And she's an entrepreneur too. Oh, shut up. But this is a question we get asked probably the most. Yeah. And it's because, and I think it gets asked to me a lot and to you, but from not in the same question. People ask you and they ask me separately. And so let me just dispel the myth here. She probably doesn't get the notoriety and recognition she should just because she's married to me. Because I'm obnoxious, I'm loud, I talk a shitload. I'm very sweet though. You are. I am. I'm very big, sweet. Every employee knows I have a bark, but I have no bite. She's the bite. But this is a different podcast, different conversation. If she's on her own, still doing the same thing, it's just so make no difference. The reason that our works is because we're on the same team and we have the same goals. Yeah. And I think if I had to go back over the last 3 years of the podcast and probably 11 years and the time we've been together, that's probably the most asked question. The simple fact is you have to be on the same page. Oh, yeah. One of you can't be all entrepreneur and the other one's Susie Homemaker. It doesn't work because the hours are long and they're strenuous. And we get stressed too, but we both have an end goal and we know where we want to be. And honestly, we probably wouldn't be working as many hours as we do right now had COVID not happened. Now, don't twist that into some sort of bullshit political post because I'll just delete your crap. Everyone else went on idle. Yep. During COVID, and Brittney and I decided to go full throttle. While you were all skating by just trying to survive, we decided it was a chance to take over certain parts of our industry in our areas that we are. So that's what we did. We went for broke. Mm-hmm. Everyone else put money underneath the mattress. We put it on Red 19 and let it ride. Yeah, watch out, Vegas. Here I come, baby. But that's what we did. And I said, I'm not going to leave this life with regrets. Everything is finite. We understand that there's a certain limitation as to how much time we have on this planet, and I'm going to go for it while I'm fucking here. Yeah. What are you going to do when you meet St. Peter at the pearly gates? Say, hey, I coasted. I played it safe. Nah. And now I'm dead. I'm going to slide into that bitch like I'm sliding into home base. Slip and slide. We put it in the backyard one time. That'd be great. I broke that. I'm over the weight limit for that shit, by the way. But that's what we did. So, here's the thing is I'm more excited right now. I was just telling her this the other night, and then Brad and I talked that I'm more excited right now at year 11 in the same month as I was on day one in 2010. And here's why. I've got more franchisees applying than I ever had. They're all getting approved. It's fantastic. We have a finance guy who's financing all of our franchises, which is a huge advantage because he believes in what we do and the amount of support we give our franchisees. So much so that I sold Norfolk a year and a half ago to our manager. And he's now the owner because he earned it. Yeah. I just sold Bellevue, which I've owned for 6 years, to a great couple that we love dearly because we need more time. I'm going to sell Sioux City. I'm going to sell Kearney just on our main three because our warehouse operations are exploding. Yep. We need to have more time to help them. And we just brought on Brad Engelke, who's, if you don't know Brad, he talks as much as I do, but significantly nicer. And he's phenomenal. We're super jacked to have him, but he believes in the mission and what the family represents and the full time for VHI because the popcorn and the supplements, we have 69 SKUs. That's right. That wasn't planned. Just happened. Yeah. What's up, girl? Anyways, sorry. I've had a lot of caffeine today. But we're at a point like, oh my God, like we're at a point now. So we added a full-time rep to help us grow the popcorn national, coast to coast, north to south on all the brands and the point now that, with the supply and demand chain issues that a lot of people are like just trying to get by, Brittney and I decided to double and triple all of our orders to make sure that we're the only company that has stock. And so we just keep doubling down, changing our software, it's becoming streamlined. The amount of changes we've made in the last 90 days are probably more than I've made in the last 9 years. Just to say that I dropped the ego at the door and said, okay, is there a better way, more streamlined way of doing this? We've asked for help. We asked for advice. We have a 22-year-old new manager of one of our shops that came with some ideas who I think was assuming I was going to shut him down. I'm like, let's talk about it. Yeah. And we're implementing a good chunk of them and letting him take some, hey, if you got the work and motivation, I'll match it.
Yeah.
That's it. And, we're just at that stage. Plus, we've never had a harder time in probably 20 years getting part-time work.
Oh gosh. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare. So we're not only are we doing all these corporate things, trying to open a third gym, but we got delayed 12 weeks because of waiting on handicap shower stalls and air conditioning units. That is a COVID thing. Can't do shit about that. It's not their fault. It's not the construction guy's fault. It's just they're not there. So instead of being open in beginning of August or end of July, we're opening probably first week of October, more than likely. And it's kind of all over the place, but we're taking all that shit on top of the fact that we're having to cover shifts constantly. She worked at a warehouse yesterday. I worked a store. JD had to work a store. Brad had to hop into a store. That's just one day. It's another reason why we're selling off a lot of the corporate locations because owner operators give a shit. They're there. They're married to it. They make a lot more money and they don't mind working extra when they're making that much money. Yeah. And we're just kind of freeing up our time, but it's the most exciting time in my professional career with Rexius expanding to heights I never thought were possible. VHI, I'm so excited to see what we do there. We're going coast to coast national. You wait till the end of 2022. I'm going to be on this fucking podcast talking about how we should hire 10 more people to just handle the shipments. It's going to be badass. Iron Heaven in 3 locations at the point now that I think the new Gretna one's going to explode more than the other 2 even. That we're going to have to upgrade and talk Nick into location 4. It's for us, it's truly humbling to have this many people that have supported my stores, our stores since the beginning. I had guys come in this last week who've literally been shopping with me since 2010, and I can't begin to tell you how humbling and honored I am to have that kind of support. You've helped me feed my kids, and my business partners' kids and my employees' kids. Like that to me is everything. When you help me put food on the table for the family and keep a roof over my head, I'm truly incredibly grateful. And the people at the gyms to keep memberships, like, thank you. I mean,
you have a lot of loyal members, loyal customers, just a lot of loyal people that we can't thank enough.
It's big time. And the VHI for all the brands that have already took a chance on my crazy ass just because you follow me on social media. Thank you guys. And from Darren in New York to Eric at Southern and Caleb and Big D in Chicago to all the stores that have been carrying the new ones that we talked to down in Jacksonville, Rexius Nutrition. Like, it's kind of crazy that we're in Miami, we're in New York, we're in Texas, we're Kansas, Chicago, California. I'm like, oh my God, and it's just nuts to me. And I remember somebody the other day, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah, it took me 20 years in business, 11 years of 90-hour work weeks to become lucky overnight. It's a crap excuse for somebody who's not willing to put into work ethic. So here's my 11-year message.
Let's hear it. Bring it on. Go? I'm ready.
Set up like that. If you have a dream, fucking do it. Life is finite. It's short. We're not guaranteed anything. One of my heroes died 2 weeks ago, John Meadows, at 49 years old. And just to show you that it didn't matter how much money he had in the bank, but the comments that were written about him, the amount of people, the outpouring of support and love that he impacted through his work and his grinding mentality shows you what the man is worth. And when I leave this earth, whether that's in 20 years or 40 or whatever, who knows? I want to know how many people I was able to impact. And I'm not going to be doing it from sitting on your couch in a level of complacency. Greatness does not come out of comfort zones. So today's the day. It doesn't matter what your situation is. I don't care what your financial situation is. I don't care what your job situation is. I don't care where your custody battle's at. Been there, right? Yeah. Do it now. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. Everything else is a bullshit excuse. You need to face yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm good here, or no, I want more. And if you want fucking more, listen to these podcasts. Listen to Andy Frisell podcasts. Listen to Gary Vee. and take some advice and just fucking go for it. You've got nothing to lose. What are you going to say? No?
Yep.
Who gives you shit? At the end of the day, like, stand up for your convictions. Go for it. I don't regret a single day from 2010 until now. Even, I mean, guys, when I tell you it made me file bankruptcy, it did. When it caused complete financial reversal, it did. I was before Brittney, BB.
Yeah.
I was formerly married, and it was not great to begin with anyway. So I figured I'm going to go do my thing. I shouldn't say that on this podcast, but my kids don't really listen more than 5 minutes into it, so we're good. But wasn't on board, and this is my dream, my passion, what I'm going to do, and I fucking went for it. And to understand that I was only 4 years in.
Mm-hmm.
And Brittney and I got together, and I went from 1 state of operation to 5 states of operation in 12 months. So that shows you that what I meant before, the question we get asked the most is how, because we are two like-minded people on the same mission. We each play a different part, and you'd have more stuff to say about her if she wasn't married to such a piece of eye candy like myself. But the mission is, if you have a dream, go now, find a way, talk to somebody. It isn't just me, it's every other entrepreneur in the world who's had success. They like to talk and help other people achieve that success because we understand what that feels like. We understand the freedom that gains. I may work 90 hours a week, but it's because I fucking want to.
Yep.
Anything else?
I don't think so. You're always the talker. I'm the quiet one. I'm the eye candy. You're the mouth.
And that's it for this episode of Now or Never podcast. Thank you guys. See you next week.